Hey there, friends and enemies. JoPaWrites here again, and today I wanted to rank all of the villains in Insomniac's Spider-Man games from Spider-Man 1 to Miles Morales and even up through Spider-Man 2, so keep in mind there will be spoilers for all three games. I'm going to be rating the villains based on a couple different criteria, from how memorable the enemies are to how much I enjoyed the boss fights and how much character development we see from the various villains. So let's jump right into it. First off, we have Vulture, who I think is not overly memorable in the games. I don't really care for him like I do a lot of other characters. Keep in mind when I'm ranking these, I enjoyed every single one of these characters to a degree. So being in D tier doesn't mean it's a bad character. It just means I don't enjoy them or their character arc as much as I do other villains on this list. Next up, we have Kingpin. And this is going to pain me a little bit. I think this goes down in C tier. I know some people are going to disagree, but we've been spoiled with the Marvel Kingpin from the Netflix series, who I think is a perfect adaptation. And ultimately, Wilson Fisk in this medium doesn't do as much. I think part of it is because the boss fight isn't that great. It feels like just a big heavy enemy from Spider-Man 1. And then while he is menacing throughout the game, it doesn't really feel like he is ever going to be the main guy. He is just there in the background pulling the strings. And that's why I drop him down a little bit. I just wish he was used a bit better personally. Same thing with Taskmaster. Taskmaster is one that I give bonus points because of how the boss fight starts in Spider-Man 1, but ultimately you don't see enough of him to really get me excited about him. Now, the boss fight is very interesting as well because when you're fighting him, he adapts to your moveset like Taskmaster should, but ultimately I just feel like he falls below a lot of the other characters in my personal opinion. Then we have Electro. He's going to be down with Vulture. Again, the boss fights where the Sinister Six team up a little bit were interesting, but I feel like because there were so many different enemies, you had obviously Norman Osborn as one of the main guys pulling the strings. You also had Doc Ock as a main guy to go up against. It left some of the other enemies not feeling as exciting. They obviously didn't get as much of a chance to shine, and that's why I'm going to drop him down just a little bit. Then we have Shocker. I think he's down here as well. Personally, I thought his fight was actually pretty decent, but overall, I think he's not going to be as good as some others on this list. We're starting a little low, but we're going to get to the heavy hitters here in a little bit, and there's going to be a lot more in S and A tier by the time this all said and done. And it starts with Doc Ock. I think he was a really good boss fight, definitely utilizes his ability set, and also the way they built him up was very, very interesting. I thought they made him very sympathetic, but also menacing. And then the best part for me is the tease at the end of Spider-Man 2. In case you missed it, it's essentially the will he, won't he of telling everybody that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And so if he does that, then obviously that would change the dynamic of Spider-Man 3 and the games going forward. So him teaming up with Norman Osborn, who I fully believe will be the next big bad and will probably turn into Green Goblin at some point throughout the course of Spider-Man 3. I think Doc Ock will play a heavy role in that as well. So I'm excited about the future for him as well. And so Norman Osborn isn't on this list, but I would have him right now in B tier because there's a lot of different development with him. We just haven't had a chance to square up against him yet, one-on-one, and I think that is definitely coming. Now we have Hammerhead. Hammerhead has got 2 on here for some reason. I don't think he's all that memorable, although he does get a chance to shine in Spider-Man 1 DLC, so it's not like he's completely wasted or anything, and he's not really a prominent villain from what we've seen in like the movies and everything. So he's gonna go a little bit lower. But yeah, overall, I find him to be interesting enough, but not really in comparison to some of the others on this list. Like a Tombstone, this one I find to be awesome. I think he is a very good boss fight. I think his character development, the mutual respect he develops with Spider-Man, and also just what we see in Spider-Man 2. I wish the one downside is I wish we had seen a bit more from him in Spider-Man 2 to really develop him as anti-hero helping the good guys. A little bit more of that would have been nice to see. But I was glad to see him kind of get a chance to get some screen time in Spider-Man 2. Mr. Negative, this one I'm actually going to put up in S tier. And this is going to be surprising to a lot of folks, but I think his whole arc is really good. Boss fights across multiple games also pretty good. And I think the best part for me is not only his boss fights are varied and interesting, but also the fact that he is a sympathetic character who you never really see as a good guy. You definitely want him to turn out okay, but like the him giving up his powers essentially for Miles Morales made the most sense, so he was redeemed in the end, and I really enjoyed that. Then we have Black Cat. I think she's pretty solid. She's not really a villain in any of the games. She's more of an anti-hero type, but I do think she's right there in the B tier. And some of her team ups with Spider-Man are very cool. I really enjoyed them in the game. And overall, I think she is one that I enjoyed. And I think I would really much like to see more of in the future of Spider-Man games. Same thing with Silver Sable. I didn't enjoy her as much. Like I feel like she was kind of like there as one of the villains in Spider-Man 1, but never really someone who I thought we were going to fight. Nor should we really, but it would have been nice, and that's why I'm going to rank her down in D tier. I think she's fine as a character, but she definitely could have been used better. Speedball, he's the worst. I just did not care for him at all. I don't think anyone did. I feel bad putting these others on D tier compared to him, but ultimately, yeah, he's just very, very annoying. Then we're going into the Tinkerer. I think the Tinkerer is solid B tier. Again, major part of Miles Morales. Lots of interesting abilities. The boss fight is really, really cool, in my opinion. The development of how you discover the Tinkerer is really cool, and I think that was something that I really enjoyed overall. I think Tinkerer is one of those characters who I didn't really know a lot about beforehand, but now I'm a lot more curious. I know in the games it deviates a lot from the comics, but that's fine. This is a character who I would like to see them do more with as a comic character and the character that we see in the Insomniac games, because I think she's quite interesting. Same thing with a Prowler. Prowler we don't see a ton of, but we do see enough, and there's enough side missions and things to kind of go on that I do very much enjoy him as a character, seeing him throughout Miles Morales and throughout Spider-Man 2 as well. He's definitely a voice there for Miles Morales, and you can kind of see he still has those old tricks up his sleeve, but is very much a reformed villain. Then we have Venom. Venom is awesome. I think Venom is up in S tier. We knew it was coming based on the teaser of the game, but I was very pleasantly surprised that we not only get to play as Venom, but also we get to fight him as well. And I thought that was really, really cool. So ultimately, I think Venom is one for the future as well. I think Insomniacs has already teased a Venom game, and that is really exciting because I think a Venom game could be awesome, especially if they do it where they don't treat him as another Spider-Man or something like that and make him a goody two-shoes. The fact that he essentially ate Craven's head at the end of middle to the end of Spider-Man 2 was enough for me to cement him as a very much a major villain. Same thing with Craven. I loved the fact that Craven is like there and menacing. I just like the delivery of the voice actor for Craven. I thought was excellent, and overall I'm just a big fan of Craven. I think both Craven and Venom were excellent in Spider-Man 2, and it really made the game a lot more enjoyable when you have villains that not only do you want to beat, but you also kind of sympathize with and what they're doing, and they also create a aura of fear based on what they've done, their actions in the game as well. Then we have Scorpion, who I'm going to put up in B tier. Of all the Sinister Six villains, the side ones that we fight in Spider-Man 1, I find his boss fight to be the best. It's just a little bit different from the other ones, so I do very much enjoy that. Lizard. Now, Lizard is another one that I like more than most. Actually, the next three are going to be ones that I really, really enjoyed. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm going to drop Scorpion down one because I can't put him on the same list as some of these others. Anyway, Lizard is going to be up in A tier. I find the boss fight to be awesome. He's huge. He's really destructive. He's integral through a bunch of parts of the game. You have Doc Connors, who's very important in Spider-Man 2, and I find that to be really nice to see, is that whenever they have a villain who intertwines with a lot of the things that are happening with the not only the game but also the just the entirety of the story, that's what I like. And I love when villains are used like that, because they can really cement themselves and really become major characters in the game. Now we have Mysterio, who I liked his side stuff a lot in Spider-Man 2. I found him to be very interesting. A lot of the things we were going on, I knew there was going to be a twist involved. His boss fight was okay, and I think it took advantage of what he does well, but also was kind of too easy, so that's the only downside. But I did very much enjoy it, and overall I liked his development as well. Sandman was great. That opening boss fight really set the scene for the game. I really enjoyed it. Uncovering his kind of craziness throughout the game was also really fun, and I found him to be a character who was, again, relatable, sympathetic, and all that kind of stuff that you want in a villain. You want to kind of root for them to a degree, in my personal opinion. Now we have Scream. She is the spinoff of Venom, one of the symbiotes, and I'm going to put her down at C. I loved her boss fight, but it seemed so sudden that we fought her, and there wasn't enough teases towards it. I feel like I like Mary Jane Watson a lot, but at the same time, Scream itself was just like, okay, here, we're going to throw in a really cool boss fight, which was great. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that they did. And it's not a character that I think we'll see besides this. So that's why I'm not too pressed about them including in there, but I can't rank it any higher. Then we have Wraith, who's, again, an anti-hero. Boss fight was really good. I think Wraith is one of those characters who I would love to see more of, and be essentially a side character in the next Spider-Man game or one of the other games they have coming out in the future. And yeah, I very much enjoyed Wraith as a character overall, and the side missions that we go on with her. Now, Rhino is one that a lot of people didn't like as much. I loved fighting him in Spider-Man 1, just the destruction, everything going on. It just felt chaotic, and I really enjoyed that, so that's why I'm going to rank him a bit higher. And then we have Black Suit Spider-Man, which again I thought the development of him was really good, and overall the boss fight was very interesting as well. One on here that I didn't mention is the end of the Flame side mission. We had Cletus Cassidy revealed. I don't think we saw enough of him to really cement him on this list, but overall he's going to be one for the future for sure, and I'm excited to see the future of him. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this tier list overall, whether you think I'm right, wrong, and different. Let me know in the comments down below which characters I would rank either, or you would rank either higher or lower, which ones I missed on, all that kind of good stuff. My name is Jopa. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out tremendously, shows you want to see more content of this nature going forward. Have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.